All right, let's talk to you about the weather for today across the Bahamas. Of course, we've been under the influence of some unsettled weather conditions in the northern Bahamas and also in parts of the southern Bahamas. The northern Bahamas has been influenced by this frontal boundary, a series of front that has been going through over the past several days. And of course, southern Bahamas and mostly southern Bahamas, impacted by what is now tropical depression, tropical storm Paula, as it continues to move across Cuba and weaken. It will become a tropical depression and into low pressure in time. Of course, we do have this frontal boundary draped across the just south of Lake Okeechobee, and a prefrontal trough over West End moving into Freeport, bringing with it some cloudy skies continuing and a few showers. But once this has gone through, we're going to see some pretty decent conditions thereafter. Let's show you how this system has been moving over the past 24 hours. Also, the movement of Paula over the past 24 hours as it moves over Cuba, just hugging the land, taking a course over the shape of the land is rather unusual. We're dumping in quite a bit of showers across Cuba. But of course, here you see the front moving from northwest to southeast. We had some prefrontal activity, and we'll see a little bit more of that across Abaco, Grand Bahama, and the nation's capital today. Let's take a look at your satellite imagery and infrared technology. We've got some cloud coverage extending all the way from Boston into Toronto as well, swinging back. This is all the frontal system, and thank God for this front, because it's because of the front that it kicked and diffused quite a bit of Paula, keeping it south and then gradually dissipating. So it was all based on the timing of this front, but I say it's all in God's hand. That prayer Minister Brenda Archer prayed at our 8 to midnight prayer for God to keep the storm away. I believe prayer works, and we're being spared these storms because of prayer, not anything in the atmosphere. All right, here is the satellite imagery close to home. My grandson looked at this particular photo of the storm, and he said, "Papa, look at the fire." No, that's not fire. That's infrared technology, and that's where the most intense part of the weather is. So you can see it just south of the nation's capital, over down near Norman's Key, down into Staniel Key, as it continues to move off to the east-southeast. We've got cloud coverage and some clouds, some yellow stuff just to the south of Abaco into the northeast Providence Channel, approaching North Eleuthera. Here's the rain showers just over Bimini today. Some showers down over South Andros and south of Nassau. Now, this is all associated with Paula. And what you see here is associated with the frontal boundary that's making its way towards the northern Bahamas. For today, the winds are falling off a bit, 10 to 15 knots from the south-southwest. They'll clock around to the north-northwest behind the frontal system later on today, because that front will push through as we go through the day. Sometime in the afternoon, the front should be, or early evening, the front should be behind us. The winds will be from the northwest tonight, and the temperature will be reflected. As you notice, it's really nice and comfortable. Humidity's low and temperatures dropping quite a bit. 10 to 15 knots from the south-southwest into the nation's capital. Some scattered showers, all associated with the frontal system and the prefrontal trough. Grand Bahama, you're going to be experiencing northwest winds rather early today, as you should be behind the front sometime in the mid-afternoon. Eleuthera 10 to 15, you're ahead of the front, south to southwest. You won't see the northwesterly flow Eleuthera until sometime tonight or early pre-dawn. Southern Bahamas, look for winds to be near 30 knots, possibly even 30 to 40 as Paula approaches but weakens. You'll still get numerous showers and squalls into the southern Bahamas. I know my mother-in-law is down at Ragged Island. We just told her, don't worry about a whole lot. You just got to get some squalls and get those cisterns full down in Ragged Island for water purposes. All right, let's take a look at, as we track the tropics, we're still into the middle of October and talking tropical storms. All right, we've got Paula, who's just over Cuba. Then there's an area of weather just down in near Panama, and in the Caribbean as we're watching this area this time of year. Over in the Atlantic, this time of year is awfully quiet. Most of the activity begins to occur down in the Caribbean. Now, here is what they're forecasting Tropical Depression Paula to do. Continue down over Cuba and continue to weaken in time. So it poses no significant challenge here to the Bahamas. The front will continue to push Paula away from us, and we're looking for this to become a low pressure center in time. Here's the movement, and see how the showers have been pushing up along this front and along Paula and along the front over the past 36 to 48 hours. Paula moved from the northwest tip of Cuba. This is the radar composite imagery showing the showers as they were coming across this area over the past couple of days. For tomorrow, we're seeing some clearing skies. The clouds will be down over Nassau and Eleuthera. The clouds are going to remain in your area at least through tomorrow. We should begin to see some clearing in northern Abaco and central Abaco in time. The winds will be from the northwest to north, 15 knots behind the front. In the central Bahamas, your wind should be southeast to south ahead of the front. 15 knots in New Providence, 15 knots Grand Bahama, 15 knots northwest. And again, a wonderful, comfortable day tomorrow with the winds behind the front from the northwest. Sunday, look for 10 to 15 knots. They're clocking and rotating even more towards the north, northeast. 10 to 15, pretty much the order of the day up and down the Bahamas. Okay, here's your boating forecast. If you're going to be doing some boating today, 3 to 5 foot seas offshore, 10 to 15 knots. Occasional shower will cause wind gusts and seas to be slightly higher than forecast. So if you see a storm, if you see a thunderstorm out there, do not expect 10 to 15 knots. You can expect anywhere from a 30-knot gust in these systems. Light chop at Whale Key. In the southern Bahamas, a different story. 30 knots possible. That's in the extreme southern Bahamas, south of Georgetown. 8 to 12 foot seas, all associated with tropical depression. The tropical depression was Paula. Low tides at 9 a.m., high at 3:20 this afternoon, low tonight at 10 p.m. That's a look at your weather, brought to you by our partners at Sky Bahamas Limited.